Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an exciting tutorial where we create this awesome template. So let me show you how this template loads. So I'm going to refresh the template and you see there's a bit of animation going on here and over here. If I scroll down, you see more of that animation going on there, which is pretty cool. And then we have a fixed background there and we have this animation here. And finally the mega footer down here. And not only that, this has several pages. We have our login page here and the sign up page over here, right? And on top of that, this is actually fully responsive. We can check this out by going to responsive design view. And as you can see, as I move things around like this, if you notice here, first of all, the navigation becomes responsive, right? Then things here squeeze together until they go the next step, like so. And if you keep going, you have that. So very, very responsive, as you can see here. And there you go. And finally, the footer. All right, guys. So that's the thing we're going to be creating using Quickcode UI. Now, if you're one of those people that don't like doing stuff much, you can easily just click the link in the description to download the template, or you may need it for reference later. So the link will take you to the page like this, and if you want, you can just click edit to edit it. It will open it in this same editor, or you can just download the template, the zip file, and you can have the template. It's all free to use for commercial and personal use. Yes. So let's begin our design. Now let me remove this from the responsive mode. Okay, so here it helps to visualize things and put things into smaller compartments. So first of all, we have a navigation at the top here. And then we have this hero section down here just below the navigation. And then we have two segments here. We have this side where there's popular podcasters, and here the actual podcast cards are on this side of the thing. Okay, and then we have another section down here with the subscribe. And then we have featured guests here, another section, and then the footer. So we have to put these things into smaller and smaller sections. So let's start with the navigation. Now, navigation is easy because we already have components here. Just click add item and go to nav bar over here and click this one that says light drop down 2. This one is my favorite drop down. Okay. So already we have a logo here. You can click that and you can double click on the logo to change it if you want. So there are images here. You can go to where it says logos and change to a different logo. Now, if you want a custom image, you can click on custom. Now, this only shows up if you're logged in to the system here. But if you're not logged in, you won't have that. In the custom here, you can actually click browse and upload an image that you can add there. But for now, this is enough. I'm going to click and drag on the properties panel that shows up. If you don't see that panel, you can click at the top here that says properties. Let me drag and drop. There we go. So now I want to change things on the, we will not change any colors for now. We'll do that in the end. So what I want is to edit stuff here. So what I'll do is double click on this, and that takes me into edit mode. And with that, now you can also click just this this pencil here to go into edit mode. And in there, I want to write hi user instead. And if I click away, that's what I get. All right. I want to change these guys to login and sign up. So I'm gonna do the same thing here. This one is login. I click away, double click on that one, sign up. Like so. Okay, so that's how we change things a little bit. Now you could change the things that are down here as well, but this is a little bit tricky because this works on the hover. Once the hover is gone, we can't see these items anymore, but you can still edit just by double clicking on that. And let's say profile, for example. The moment I click away, it's gone, but it's edited. Then I want to move this over to the next side. So in order to do that, I have to grab this item, click on it. Now on the side here, you can say whatever element you click, like here it shows you this is a nav element, right? This one is an image element. You can see in the text there. So on this one, this is an A element, which means it's a link. But I want to grab the whole package because as you can see, if I hover on top here, there's another element that's holding this thing. It's the parent. Now, if you're unsure of things that are going on here, you can click on tree here. This takes some getting used to. So you see what's selected is in this color, this maroon color here. That's a tag. It doesn't have any children in here, otherwise you'd see them there. But this is contained in a parent, the list item. So as I hover on these things, you will notice that it's hovering here to show me which element is which. So if I click on LI, then it selects the LI element, which contains the A tag and another drop down in there because it's a drop down. So this list element is the child to the parent, which is the container for all the buttons. So here I know I've selected the right thing there. So all I need to do is go to edit and say move down. So it's moved down in the hierarchy here, and that's how you do it. Okay, so maybe that's a little complex, but you don't have to do all of this. You can just do what you don't have to move these things. You can ignore that part if it's too complex. That's fine. So let's click on File Preview to see a preview of what we are doing here. So far this is what we have. And of course, everything is responsive already. So if I do this, you can see that I have responsive view here, which is awesomeness. All right, so let's go back and continue. So now what we want is the hero section here, which is this one. This one I'm going to need two sections. There's already something I can use in the empty here. There's this grid type 1. So this one is 2 divs contained in a third div. That's all it is. And then they have display flex. So they are side by side like this. This one is here, this one is here. Okay. Now they're not going all the way to the end. So what I'm going to do is do edit, because when I click here, I'm clicking these 2 divs, but there's a parent that's holding both. So I can say edit, select parent. So now I've selected the parent thing. Now the thing is, actually, this part doesn't go all the way to the end. So this is okay. Since I've selected the parent, now I can go to properties. In the width here, I want to give it a maximum width. So width, I'll say 100%. I'll click on percent here. All right. But I don't want it to go all the way. So what I'll do is I'm going to say max width 1200. Okay. And then I'll click the center button here, and that will center it. So what it really does, the center thing, if you go down here, you'll see it just adds margin left auto and margin right auto and changes the display to either block or flex. All right, so we have these 2 things here. Nice. Now what we want is to add this image and add some text here. That's going to be easy peasy. I'll select this. Once I select it as a background color, so I'm just going to click the X here to remove that background color. That's fine. Or you could put white as a background color. That's fine. But I want to add an item in there, and inside elements I'll add an image. So there is. So you have to be careful before you add an item. Know what you've selected, because the item you're adding will be dropped inside that item. So the width is 100 pixels actually, but let's click percent. So sometimes you have to click back and forth to get the right units. Okay, so height, I want to give it a limited height of 400 pixels like that. Alrighty then. So now if I double click on the image, I can load a different image here. I'm going to go to illustrations. I already know which image I want to use. It's on page 6 currently, but this can change as I add more images here. and the image is where two people are sitting there, but doesn't really matter what image you add there really. This is just for demo purposes only. So select this other thing and remove the background or put white. Let me put white instead. And then we have two texts, this and this. So all I need to do is add two items, that is inside elements, div text, there it is, and add again div text. Alrighty then. Now let me copy the text from here because I'm too lazy to type. So I'm going to double click and paste. Go back, copy this, and double click and paste like that. So we have two of those. I'll select this one. Let's go to font and let's change that font to 60. All right, now we don't want it to go all the way to the left like this. So what I'll do is I'll go to the width of the div, because remember this is text in a div. You can see that it's written div when you select on it. And let me give it a maximum width. I don't want to give it a fixed width because then it won't be responsive. So I'll say maximum width, maybe let's try 300 pixels, that's fine. And then while we're at it, let's change the font. So I'm going to change to this one here. There we go. And then this here, I'll leave as it is. I think this is okay. It's just the color that's different, but we'll deal with that a little bit later. So there we go. We have this thing here going on. That is awesomeness. So let's go to the next part, which is this one. Now this also has the same situation where there are two sections, only that this section is bigger than the other. So of course we're going to say, you can actually duplicate this and delete what's inside by saying edit clear contents. That's deleting the contents within a div or something like that. But let's just create a new one so that we can have different styles on it. So I'll go to empty and retype 1 again. Now be careful what you're selecting when you're doing that, remember that. So I'll select this and I want to select the parent again, so select parent, and I want to limit its width just like the friend at the top there. So width, max width 1200, and let me center it. Good. All right, only that now, because these are display flex, that's why they're side by side. If I select this other one here and go down to the styles, you can see that there's flex of 1. I can just edit that directly and say 2. So this one is twice as big as this one. That's how Flexbox works. Okay, so with that done, what I need is to load in a card here, this podcast card here. So luckily we already have that. So I'm gonna click add and I go to cards here. Yeah, and there is the very first one, audio card 1. Select, and there it is. Look at that, it's loaded. Cool. And now I'm going to make, how many of these are there? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually 5. So I want to select the container that contains everything in here. So remember that there's an audio card contained in this container we had originally. So select this image and go to edit and say select handle. Now what happens is, if you notice when I'm hovering on these items, these things, the text that describes the item is in white, right? But if I select one that's called a handle, it's going to be in yellow. So I'm going to say edit, select handle, and you see that this div is in yellow now, which means it is the handle. Now what the handle means is just the container that contains that entire piece of content. Not everything will have a handle, but if it does, you can use that to know that this is the outermost item here that I can use to grab and move things around, or even when copying, I want to copy and duplicate that. Now, if it doesn't have a handle, what you can do is you can just select an item and say edit, select parent, and then you need to select the parent. So it has moved to the parent here, but it doesn't look very different. So you keep clicking, select parent, until you get to the item you want. Or you can say select first child, or a sibling, or the next sibling, and so on. So if I click now select parent, it will go to the outermost box. Then I know the previous item was the one that I wanted. So say edit select first child. So now I have this thing here. Or you can just select this item like I did earlier and say select handle. Now I want to go ahead and say edit clone. Now the reason I want to clone and not duplicate is because I wanted to keep the same classes. That way if I edit one of these, all of them are edited. So I'll click clone 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you look, now it's been duplicated a few times. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. Now I can go ahead and double click on each image and change the image. So I'm going to go to fashion. Where is fashion here? So take your time and load whatever images you want. So I'm just gonna use these guys in this folder. Yes. And boom. Okay. So there you go. And then the text, as for the text, you can just double click and type something new. Yeah. So not difficult. I'm not going to do that for the sake of shortening the tutorial. Let's move on to this section over here. Now, I forgot to remove the background color on the main thing here. So I am going to select this whole thing, the grid here. Okay. And if I bring back the properties, now by the way, if you move the properties panel so far you can't see it, you can just go view, reset properties panel, and it will be reset. So I want to remove the background color here. I'll click, instead I'll go to click white actually. Same thing here. I want to select this one on this side and select white as a background color. Then I want to add items in here. So I'm going to go back to cards. And I'm looking for a very specific user card. So this one, user 11, is the one I'm looking for. So there it is, user 11, right? And it's got a handle here. You can see it's in yellow. That means that's everything, right? So I want to move this to the left. Okay, there we go. Click to move to the left. I want it also, I think this is fine. I wanted to add a title here, but I forgot that. So I'll select the main container again, add, and this time I'll go to segments. Let's go to segments and page 2. There's this title with nav number 1. So I'll click that and this is what it brings me. All right. Now I'll select this. Clearly I can see this is not a handle, but it's the main thing. I'll move it up. Click this to move it up. Yeah. Now I don't want these, what are these? These other items here. So if I watch carefully, if I select this and then I say select parent, there's one thing that holds all these guys together. So I can just delete that instead. Say okay. And there we go. And then I can type that and say double click on this. Oopsie, I can't edit that. All right, don't worry about that. In your version, you will be able to edit this because I think I forgot to put something there that makes it editable. But don't worry, fear not, I'm going to fix that. So when you're doing this tutorial, you'll be able to edit this text. Now, since I've deleted some items here, I can go to CSS. There will be classes in the project that are not attached to any items because the items have been deleted. So I'll go and say CSS delete orphaned classes and say 3 classes were deleted. That's good. All right, so far so good. Let's do a preview and see where we're at. So I'm going to preview. This may take a little while depending on how, for me because I'm recording at the same time, I guess that's why. So there we are making progress, right? So let me just duplicate these guys a few times and yes. So select that and I'll say edit, duplicate. I'll clone actually. Then I can double click to put other images here. So let me go to people. Now some of these are low quality images, so you have to move around and select which ones. I put the low quality versions as well because internet connection sometimes can be terrible, so you need to be able to have smaller picture sizes as well. Yeah, so now I can edit these and add different names to these guys, right? Something like that. I wanted a long name here. Okay, so that long name actually fits, but I can select this handle for this and go to width. You see here it's got a max width of 250. Can increase that to 350, so it goes all the way. That's nice. And then finally, let's go down here and look at what we can do. This is the preview, sorry. Let me look at the original. And then there's this section and this section, and then the footer. All right, so we're almost there. Hang in there. Now let's do a save. It's important to always save. So let's do save, and I'm going to say save whatever you want to save. Because this is temporal, I'm just going to save it as pod, short for podcasters. So let's save that. Saving. Oh yeah, it's taking its sweet time here. I think my computer is running out of RAM because I have too many things open. Alrighty then, that is good. Alright, so next here, let's add this part here. So fear not, this already exists. So click here, add item. Back in segments here, let me go back to the first page. There's this fixed BG1, so let me click on that, and that brings us this item. So there's a different image here, but let's type the text here. Let me change that to subscribe, something like that. Okay, now if I select this, you can see that this is a div, but it's not the one with the image. The image is in the background. This is just a dark thing. We can check the background image here, or you can just check the styles to see if it has any background image, and it doesn't. Even here we can see it doesn't in the properties. So we'll go to edit and say select parent, and there we go. We have our image there, so we know that this one is the container that has the image. So I can just click on that to edit it. So in this time I'll go to the podcast folder and click an image here where there are two guys, and that solves the problem. Now we have this your email address thingy. So what I'll do is select now the thing that contains these items here, the parent of these. I can select this and say edit select parent, or just click on this. Then I can add an item. This item I want to add is inside inputs. Is it? Yes, inputs. And there's this one, email form 1. So I'll click on that, and there it is. So it's got this div here, an input and a button. Okay, cool. So that solves that problem. So we are down here, and let's save this part here. Saving, very important. Do not really trust this undo. The undo button works, but it's still buggy. So just save things before you do something you think may cause a problem. That way you don't lose your work. Okay, so don't mind the color, we'll change those things later. Now we have this thing that says featured guests and these cards here. So let's do this one. So what I'll do is go back here. So I'll select wherever there are some dots here, that means this is the canvas itself. So select there to make sure that I'm dropping things in the canvas. I'll click add item, and I want to just add a section, an empty section here. So empty section. Okay, so there is the empty section, and inside this section I want to add an element, h1 or h2, whichever you prefer. Let me add h1. So that's the text. If I select this item, I can click center. So what does it say? It says featured guests, so I'm just gonna copy that text here, double click and paste. Alright, so of course we can change the font here to this one, and let's increase the font size to 30. Alright, now the background, if I select this item, I don't want to stop seeing it completely, so I'm just going to lighten it a little bit. Okay, and then I will add an empty div in there. Make sure it is selected before you click add, and there it is. On this one, I want to remove what width is put and what height is put by clicking the X's there on the property I want to remove. So it's a thin layer. We can still see it because it has some padding, and that's why. But in there, while it is selected, I want to add a card. So let's go to user cards here. Maybe page 2. Yes, page 2, user 13. I'm going to add that one. Pretty cool. So if I select this same thing, I know this is the handle because it's yellow. I can copy and paste, but also I can just clone. Now the fact that it's cloning this side means the display is inline, so that's good. So these guys have inline display, which means if I select their parent, which is the container that contains them, and go to font and say text align center, I can do this. Then let me remove the background color like that. Okay, cool. Also remember that whenever you fail using this, you can't use this properties panel. You can easily just type the styles directly down here, as mentioned before. And then now I can grab this and change the images over here, like so. And let's go to page 2. There we go. Alrighty then. So you see, now you can double click in any of these and edit the text. It will take enough time, so you do that, because I already did this, so no problem. So what's remaining? It's the footer. No. So let's thank the gods because the footer already exists. So I'm just gonna say add item. Scroll down here to where it says footers. Where are the footers? Oh, sometimes yeah, there we go. So click this one, dark footer 2. Click. Make sure you selected the canvas when doing this. And as you can see, there is our footer. So let me save this. Just in case something can happen to our project, I'm gonna hit save. It's dragging its feet a little bit because I've learned my lesson. Next time I want to record, I should make sure I have enough RAM to go around. Alright, so with that, now we can do a preview and see where we're at. Yes. So I'm gonna wait for the prompt to say it will open in the next page, and there we go, in the next tab. There it is. Look at that. Very, very cool. Alright, so let's deal with the colors, and then we can add some animations here. Alright guys, so let's start with colors. I want to fix all these colors here so that there's a theme. Maybe there's a theme you want to follow. So this is what you're gonna do. Now, having to click, you see I can click here and oh, please keep in mind that there are classes on these items here. The class names are written here, and some things have 2 or more classes, and we're gonna see that. And whichever class is on the right side takes precedence. So if both of them have a similar property like color, whatever is on the right will be the winner. Just like how CSS works. Okay, so in order to have a uniform set of colors, I don't want to just go here and just select colors at random. What I want to do is I have put all the colors that I want on inside a notepad like this. So I've separated them with space. So I'm using hex values. You have to use hex values here. So however many of colors you want to add, you put them here, separate them with a space, and then you copy that string and then come here and say CSS color palette. Okay, so I already have the podcast colors here, but I'll delete it for now. So you can delete the ones you have. Now, I forgot to mention that you will only be allowed to add a new palette if you're logged in. So you have to log in somewhere here. On the file menu, there's a login or sign up button there. So I'm going to say new palette, and I'll paste here. Now, if you don't want to make your own palettes, there are palettes before I click this that you can select for if you want. So this one is podcast palette. So I'm going to save that, and there it is. So now it's selected. Now, if you can't do what I'm doing here because you're not logged in, fine. Just go ahead and select one of these palettes here, whichever one you want. And since now this is selected, I can hit save. Now, what this would do is if I click on an color thingy, you see those colors I added are down here. So it's easy to just pick from that list. So let's see what colors the original thing has. So we have this color here, slightly gray. All right, so let's keep on with that. So let's select that one. This one is a slight gray, this lighter gray. Cool. This one is this one. Now notice here when I select this and this, because they have an H1 class. This one is H1, and if I select that, that's also H1 class. So if I change this, it will change the other ones. That's why cloning is good for such things. So if I select this one, that changes all of them. And this is really all we're going to change on this part here. That's the main color. Let's go to the button here. If I select that button, I want that red. Oh, sorry, close that. I'm selecting the foreground color, so let me put that back to white. But I want the background color as that red. Okay, cool. So that does it. Let's go here to featured guests. Let's look at the actual color. One of these slightly lighter, dark colors. And so you can go ahead and do this to everything. Even this here that's orange, it's not the proper orange. We have this, let's go to the maroonish kind. That's the one we have there. And same thing here. This is an icon. It's got, you see, this one has three classes. Always when you select an item, the last class is selected. So keep in mind that there could be other classes that have other properties there that you may want to look at. You see, when I select here, the footer icon has these tiles. But if I select this class here and go down, you see there's nothing there. So you have to be careful which class you are dealing with. So footer icon here, I'll select and put that one. And all of them that have the same class have changed as well. So if you go to home, when I hover on these, there's a color that I see. Now this is going to be a little bit tricky, so please pay a little bit more attention here what I'm going to do. So I can select this item, but when I go out, I don't see that hover color. So it's only on the hover. So what I'll do is go to where there are classes. I see this is the class that's there, footer panel link, right, to that. So since it has a hover effect, it means it's got a pseudo class, or they're called pseudo classes. I don't know. So here where it says pseudo and combined classes, if I click on that, you see there's a hover here. Okay, so here when I select this, it means no pseudo class selected. Here it's a hover. So if I click on hover, it's going to automatically tick this part here that says show pseudo class. Now only the style that happens on the hover is actually loaded. So you see these turn all orange like this, and you can see that color is loaded here. So now I can actually edit it like so. So I've changed that color, but always remember to go back to the none like so. That way things are back to normal. Cool. Now there's an even more complex situation here. You see here there's useful links, right? And then there's a slight underline here. Now that slight underline is a combined class. So there's pseudo classes, there's combined class. When you click this, this is when these come. So combined classes on this. Actually, it's a pseudo class. This doesn't have combined classes. So instead of hover, it's before, as you can see here. When we selected this, this had a hover, and this has a before pseudo element. So I'm going to click on that. Now notice that it didn't say show pseudo class, and don't click that, please. I think I should probably disable that when you use a before or after. I'll figure it out. But when you select, you see now it has loaded the BG color for the before pseudo class. So I can click on that and select it. Close, and then please remember to go back to none. All right, so that solves that problem. On the background here, let me select this container here, the section, and let me close this combined pseudo class thingy. And I'm going to go to background here and select this light. That one there. That is awesomeness. What else remains here? What other colors are different? Oh, we have these colors here, right? So select this one and boom. Oh, sorry. That was the background color. So let me close that, cancel that, and select the foreground color. Okay, cool. Now we go to the home page here. Okay, the navigation, sorry. If I select on the home page, you see there's a class for when something is active. That's why this has a different color to the other buttons. But there's also nav link item, which is the class that every other one of these has. If you select on them, you see. But this one has an extra one, which is active, that does the active thing. So since there's a blue here, we don't want that. We want this, I don't know what color this is, greenish. That's what we want. So even when I hover on this, you see there's a bluish thingy going on. Now, also, if you don't want to see these selectors, you can go view, show selector box, or allow hover on highlight. Then none of that will show up when you're doing this, in case you want to see things without all the mumbo jumbo in front. But I need those guys now, so I'll select that. So here on the hover, there's a hover for this one as well. So nav link hover. Oh, how come that didn't change? Oh, that changed for the active. Now if I select, there should be a hover. So that's a pseudo class. So click there and select hover, and then oops, select that and click. Okay, so now the hover, don't forget to put it back to none once you're done editing the properties. And there we go. Now there are these that are even more complex down here. So these guys will need slightly more attention. So like I said, if I'm not hovering on this, this thing disappears. So maybe I'll figure out how to deal with this. But I'll click on one of these. I want to change the hover of this. So select that. Alright. Now it's gone because I'm not hovering on it here, but it's still selected. That's why you see that. It goes to the corner there. But there's no hover thingy pseudo classes here. So it could be the parent that has that. So we'll go to edit just to check and say select parent. And lo and behold, we have a hover on the parent and this hover. Actually, this was a mistake. I should have removed this. This isn't doing anything really. It isn't. But maybe it is. Look at that. So just to be sure, I'm going to select that and say boom, and then put it back on none. And then also there's a combined class here. When there's a hover, a child link item is activated. So we'll talk about these in a different tutorial. So select that and also change that color like so, and then put it back on none. Now it's not only colors you can change. Once you select these, the classes all load, so you can change whatever properties you want down here. All right, guys, let me close that properties thingy. I think we are good here. Let me save. All right, we are saving. So all the colors are done as we would want. Is it saving? So in case I forgot something, you can go ahead and edit that color as well. But what's important now is to make other pages. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that when you're making other pages, you have to copy the navigation, the nav bar and the footer, obviously. So make sure everything you need to change on these items is changed before you make a copy, because then you have trouble going back and forth editing from one page to another. So here I'm sure I have everything I needed and everything is edited. So select this. This is not the handle because I can see it's black here. So I'm going to continue saying select parent until I find the handle, which is the header That's good. So then I can copy this thing. Now, before I copy this, these are actual links. We're going to have the login, the sign up, and the home page. So select these guys and go to properties. Just make sure the properties panel is on. And I want to go to href. There's href here. I'll click that. There's an href here because this is an A element, so it has an href. So that's the link. So here, this one will be index.html because the home page will always be index. Now let me select the login and change that to login.html. And this other one here will have a link of signup.html, like that. So those are the places these are going to link to. Okay, so now that we've set that up, that is awesome. Now also, this is the home page, right? You can go ahead and click on pages here, and you can see there's only one page on this project, which is this one. Then you can click on page properties here on pages, page properties, or you can click on this wrench looking thingy here. And so you can edit things here like the name of the page, the link of the page, and you can add some description and keywords for search engine optimization. But we don't want that for now. I just want to create 2 pages. So the login and the sign up. I've already made the links to those pages, so I'll just try to match that. So I'll click twice this thing here. And now I have 2 pages here, page 2 and page 3. So select this page 2 and edit the properties. No, but I don't need to do that. Let me, not yet. Let me select the first one. I want to select, let me go select parent, the header, and I'm going to say edit copy element. So I'll go to page 2 and paste, edit, paste element. Page 3, edit, paste element. Okay, pretty good. And then go back to page 1, and I'm going to copy the footer as well. So select this. I want to keep selecting the parent until I get to the div that's the handle, which is this one I've got into. Again, I'll say copy element, go in the this page, edit, paste, and go to the other page, edit, paste. Okay, so we have a header and a footer on these pages. So let me go to page 2. I want to decide whether this is the login or the sign up. So we are on page 2. I want to give it a name. So I'll go to these properties here. This one is the login. So that's the page title that will show in the tab here of that page when you load it. And then here, I'm going to change that to login.html. That way it's linked to that. So I'll say save. Go to this other page. Now you see the name has changed, and click that properties. And this one is sign up. Sign up. And I'll go ahead and say signup.html and hit save. Alrighty then. Cool. So now we have this thing going on here. Let me save. The only thing is I want a section in between here where I put the actual login and sign up thingy. So while we are still here, I'll select this and say add. I want to start with the sign up page because sign up page has more inputs. On the login page, it's pretty much just the sign up page with less of those same inputs. So I'll add an empty section here. I'll say empty and then section. So we have the header, we have the footer, and then we have this section. But I want this section above, so I'll click up, and there it is. So it's in the middle here, and I can go to properties and select a background color of white. Good. Let me close this part. Alrighty then. So now let me hit save. So I'm going to copy this when I'm done onto the login page. Now let's do a preview before we go any further. So select that and preview. Good. So there we go. You can see it says sign up here. If I go to home, I click home, you see it shows me the home page here, which is pretty good. All right. And let's go to login and let's go to sign up. So things are working as intended. We just need the sign up form here. Now, in order to add things in here, pretty easy. Let's select, let me close the page here. I know I'm on the sign up page. So if I select the section here, all I need to do is add some stuff. In empty, there's an empty form. We want this to be a form. So there it is. The form comes to the center. That's good. Let's add a few items in here. Elements. Let me add an H2, maybe. Something like that. And then I'm going to add item again and add inputs. So inside inputs here, there's this one with a label at the top, input field 2. I'll add that. So with this selected, I'm going to edit and duplicate. So this is for the username. I'm going to clone actually. So username, then email, then password, then retype password. Okay, so that's username, email, password, retype password. And then finally at the end, we'll add a button. So inside elements, button. Where is the button? So be careful what you've selected. So let me delete that button from there. Actually, I don't have to delete it. I can cut and paste it elsewhere. So let me select the main thing, add button. So there is the button. The button will say register, like that. Okay. So in there, let me edit the button a bit. I'm going to give it that red background color. And then if I go to text transform, I want to transform to uppercase. And then I want to add some padding here. Let's go padding. And at the top here, I want to add 1 of padding. No, not left. Sorry about that. At the top, I want to add 1 just like the bottom, 1 and then the left and right will have 2 and 2 here. Good. Alrighty then, that's our button. And then let me select this and say create account, like that. And then I'm going to change the color of this to this one. Good. And then on the label, I'm going to double click and say username, and I'll put a star at the end there to show that this is required field. This one is email required field. This one is password required field. And this one is type password as required field as well. So select the input itself. Let me just add more padding here. Now I can go directly to the styles thingy here. Let me just put 0.5 rem. It's rem here, right? Those are the, yeah, like that. 0.5 rem. Okay, good. Now I'll select the form itself and remove the background color. Select these items that have a background color as well, remove that as well. And what's left is awesomeness. Okay, pretty good, right? So let's save that. Come on, save. Okay, so that is saved. What we need, I think I'm forgetting something. On the login page, oh, there's this part here. Okay, forgot that. So let's put that section. Let me make sure you selected the canvas itself and then say add. Actually, don't add. Let's go to the other pages. Let me select this page. Let's go to the home page here. So on the home page, we have this section here. So this is what we will copy. So select this and say edit, select handle, and then I'll say edit, copy element. And I'll go to the other pages. It's the sign up page I was dealing with, right? And make sure I select the canvas and say edit and paste element. Let me close this pages thingy for now. So select this again, say edit, select handle, and then move up and move up again because I want it above these guys. And then this one is the sign up page. So say sign up over here. Then I don't need this email thing. I'll delete that. Say okay. delete. All right. So let me save at this point. And then now that I have saved, there could be classes, there could be items that I deleted but did not delete the corresponding classes. So I'll go CSS to clean up and say delete orphaned classes. One class was deleted. Okay, so that's good. Now let me select this. Again, select handle and then do a copy element. And let's go to the other page now, the login page. And select the canvas, edit, paste. All right, so that element is pasted. And let's go back again before we start moving it. Let me select this section here, edit, copy element, go back to login and select the canvas and then edit, paste. Now everything is all jumbled up. That's fine. Let me start by moving this guy. Let me close this. So edit, select handle, and then let's say move up. So we've moved up. And good, that's good. Let's select this section here and move it up. So there we go. We have sign up. This is the login page, right? So I should create a way to know what page you're on off the bat without opening this, but I can see we're on the login page. So let me close that. So I'll change that to login. And then here, login to continue, and then we don't need this username, so select the whole thingy, delete it. Now I don't need to clean up classes because that element, those classes are being used by these. There's no retype password. And then this one should say login, like so. Pretty good. Now we save. So the only thing remaining now is adding some cool animations. So let's do that. So adding animations is very easy, guys. Let's select. Animations are individual. It doesn't matter. They're not based on the class. So two items can have the same class but different animations. So here, if I select the main content here, I can go to properties and go down to animation, and then you just choose an animation from the drop down here. So the one I want is a fade in from bottom, so I'll click that and you can see it happen like so. You can click play to see that happen again. Now you can put your duration here in number of seconds. By default it's 1 second, so you can put another number here you want, and you can also put a delay here if you want it to delay before it actually runs. There's also this one where when to animate, the default is immediately or when in view. Now if you use when in view like this, it will mean if this is not visible, it will not animate until the user scrolls to that position, then it animates, which I think is better. Okay, so that's done for this one. Let's go to our sign up page and do exactly the same thing. I'll select my form and fade from bottom and when in view. Very good. Now we can preview these things by just going preview page. Now come on. Okay. There we go. And if I do this, you see it animate. Very good. Indeed. Let's go now to the main page and add some more animations. There's more animations here to be added. So the first one here will slide from the right. So fade in from right, like so. This one I use the... Oh, don't forget to put when in view. And this one also, I'll put focus in when in view. These ones, I'll select this and animate fade from bottom when in view. So you do the same thing to every one of these. I'm not going to do that because you can do that one by one. It's a chore. I'll select this and say select handle, and then do the same thing because I want the whole thing to animate fade from bottom. Experiment with all these what's this? I'll go edit, select sibling. Oh, not previous, but next sibling, and say fade from bottom and when in view. Now going down here, for example, I'll select this one and select fade from the right side. No, actually from the left. And then this one, fade from the left, from the right, I mean. And then this one, fade from the bottom. But don't forget to put when in view as well for all of these. I had forgotten for these other ones. Yeah, pretty good. And let's hit save. Oh, that saving takes a while. Yep. Okay. Come on. Yeah, my PC is heavily loaded. I'm surprised it's even able to do all of this. Okay. Let's do a preview now. Now, the thing is, when you are exporting and downloading, when you're done, just click download here, file download. Whatever page you're on when you click download, that's what you will get a preview of that. As you can see, the animations are awesome, right? Look at that. Very cool. Let's go to these ones here. Look at that. Awesomeness. So what it means is that it's going to create a preview of the page you are on when you say download. You say file, download, you'll be given a zip folder. So we can do that now and click download like this when you are done. And drum roll while we wait. Come on. Oh, okay, there we go. And then the download process will begin at the top there. That's cool. So then I can open that and extract to a folder. And you will notice that if I go in and open the index.html, this is what I get. Look at that. Okay, so I didn't add animations to these others, but that's fine. All right. Then you go to the login page and you go to the sign up page. There we go. Interesting, good. One thing I forgot to mention, sorry. If we go back to our other pages, what's this? Login page, right? So you have to do this before you make a copy. These guys have properties as well. If I select the input, if it says input, there is an input section here where you can put a placeholder, some placeholder text. As you can see there, it shows up when I type, and you can put whether this is required, and then you put the name. This one is email, and also the type of input. This one is an email input. So all these things I forgot to add. You can put password here. This is a type of password and it's required, and the name is password. That way you don't have to go back into the HTML and retype these things, right? You can even put placeholders here. That's up to you. So you go ahead and do that on the sign up page as well, like I have done here. And then you can save your information, save your project, come back and do it later, finish it later, or you can then export it and give it to your client. So this can help you really speed up your workflow. As you can see, we are done with the final version of things, and there it is. Pretty good with animations intact. And so you can create some ideas very, very quickly and just throw a couple of things together to see where you get. Instead of having to type everything, you go straight to the creative part and just put things together. All right, guys. So I hope you have learned one or two things here, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.